Hello, everyone. Oh my goodness. We are so excited to join you today. We are the Sagebrush Wellness team. And in these meetings, we love to answer your questions. This is when you get to ask anything, whether it's live, whether you want to send it in by email, whether you want to send it in by messenger. And we get to answer these questions live on air. And we had a really powerful one submitted through Instagram. And what we're going to start out talking with you today about is what are the very first steps towards becoming well, even if you've been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. So I would like to welcome Matt today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Would you like to kick this off with some thoughts around this?
Yeah, I definitely can. And I just want to say thank you for creating this beautiful healing space for so many individuals that, I know in my own journey, and you've definitely heard my story with my journey from a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis in 17 to 25 to 30 strokes a day to paralyzing a leg. But the very first time that all of it happened, I had no idea where to go. I had no idea what to do. What I found was that fear of the diagnosis took over. And we know with fear, it actually clouds our prefrontal cortex where logical thought comes from.
Yeah.
Where we can actually go and take a breath and slow down and go, okay, I am okay. I'm not going to die. This is what's going to happen. I can heal. Those thoughts are such a distance. Like it's so far away from us. So taking that first step is such a powerful one. I remember when I run the Symptom Free MS Summit, or when we do, when I do different things of this, or being on the Sagebrush team, a lot of people ask me, oh, what can I do?
Yeah.
Take a breath. Slow down in that moment. And if you're diagnosed with something, that's the last thing you want to hear. It's almost like you're like, oh, forget you. You have no idea what's going on. And we don't. But we can be empathetic. We can be here with you in that journey. So this is why I'm so excited to be here with you right now, Melissa, is we're allowing people to be with us in a safe space. This is the healing space. We are going to start walking down this beautiful road of all those questions that somebody could have.
Yeah.
So what I love about this question is those first steps towards becoming truly well. Now, I'm a mindset expert. I've written the book Belief to Heal. This is things that I work on. And so when I answer that question, I look at it from your thoughts. Believe you can be well. So it's not so much what we are doing, but I think it's more on an aspect of who we are being. Because I know in my own life, when I was being upset, when I was being thinking that there was not a way I could actually possibly get any better, or if there was nothing that I could do, then I lost hope. And when I lost hope, I lost possibility. Then I even lost like that good feeling that we get inside of our bodies. But then as I started to do research and started to really take a look at this over the years of writing my book, I really started to realize that what we began to think, whether we thought we could or we thought we couldn't, we were right. And so then I saw individuals taking that beautiful first step towards joy and love, and finding a love within their own hearts that had them laughing, that had them looking at all the little setbacks as opportunities to go, oh, there's another layer I'll need to approach or need to uncover. So it wasn't as much as what I was doing, it was who I was being.
Yeah, I love that. So this question takes me back to my own diagnosis. right? Because when I was 33, diagnosed with multiple sclerosis as well, I'd done all the research, right? I'd seen so many of the gals in my family had MS. My grandma had passed away from it. I was watching my mom's world and ability to be mobile and all of that really start to cave in on her. And so when I got the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, I knew what it meant. I'd watched it.
Right.
And also when I had been going through the rounds of, all the tests and everything that you have to do, I wanted to know what was wrong with me. Yeah, I really did. But when the diagnosis came that it was multiple sclerosis, it was like literally, a piece of me died. And I started in the grieving process, right, of giving up and like, I need to be real about this. The doctor said I'm going to be very likely in bed full time by the time I'm 45, which I'm 46, almost 47. And possibly not around, have deceased by the time I was age 50. So to have that kind of a big conversation and have that kind of a big diagnosis, I completely get it. And one of the very first things that started me moving in the right direction was thinking, what if? What if it was possible that I could get even a little bit better?
Yeah.
Because to think the whole big picture, I can be, I had no idea I could get completely well. I had no idea, right? Nobody had modeled that for me. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't read anything about it. And so I didn't know. But the very first teeny tiny step for me was, what if I could be a teeny tiny bit better? What would that mean? And so just opening my mind enough to go, what if? And what if this did work? And because I had no background at that time in anything holistic, anything, natural, I had no idea.
Right.
So I didn't understand like what I do now about the ability of the body to recover. I didn't realize the biological and hormones and all the things that can help our bodies rebuild, right? Like we are this amazing creature that can rebuild and heal from almost unimaginable things. I know that now, didn't know that then. So one of the very, very first things I guess that I would kind of lean into with you is side by side what you were talking about, Matt, is thinking about what if I could get a teeny tiny bit better.
Yes.
And like what you were leaning into as far as the mindset is, okay. Yeah. So for me, that was the opening kind of my mind and my thought process of what if. And thank goodness that opened the way for me to start actually put action steps in there, right? And doing the work and getting to end up here.
And you brought up a really good point. We go to our doctors, which I love our doctors. Our doctors are wonderful. They're going to point us to a direction, but they point us to one direction. Take this. When there's a whole nother avenue of areas to heal your body, that I don't believe healing really comes from one myopic viewpoint.
Exactly.
So, this is what we're taught. I have a headache, take an Advil.
Yeah.
I have this, take this. I have a cold, take this.
Yeah.
I get diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, take this. That doesn't exist. So what I think it's an awakening for so many of us, and this might be tough to hear, is that awakening for all of us is to realize we are not just addressing the body with just one thing, we're addressing it with all things. So I love how you said, what if? Because what if opens the door to multiple possibilities. It opens the door to multiple avenues to take, whether I walk down the road looking at my hormones, or I take a look at the histamine response within my body. Do I take a look at what my diet is, what my stress level is at? Because stress has been proven is actually a big dictator of dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're leaning towards stress, if we live in a very stressful life, imagine this. Imagine my life is extremely stressful.
Mm.
I've got teenage kids. I've got a job that demands me working 12 hours a day. I'm trying to make it to all their events. I'm trying to maintain a relationship with my spouse. I'm trying to be everything for everybody else. And in the process, I forget about me.
Yeah.
I stop taking care of myself. Let's say I stop exercising. Let's say with the stress coming in, it makes me feel better if I just go buy fast food on the way home and bring it home to the kids. Kids love it. And you know what? It's food. They're happy. They're not complaining, or they're not, on me, not adding to the stress level. But I keep doing this over an extended period of time. Let's say longer than a year. For anybody, listening right now, if you've had stress within your life, how long have you felt like you were in this stressful space? I know when I did my research, I'd realized it had been 11 years I had been this way. Ooh, is right. Like I look at this thing and I'm like, how did my body not just completely shut down? So then it's when I started to take a look at my own health, then I started to say, how can I adjust my diet a little bit?
Yeah.
How can I start to pull some stress away?
Yeah.
Now, it took me over 4 years to realize the most powerful question is, how do I love me? How do I take care of myself through this process? What does my body need? And when I woke up to that, that's when I noticed symptoms going away. That's when I noticed, lesions starting to decrease. This is when I noticed I started to do a little bit more and I felt better. And I think on that aspect is one of those things that how often we will put everybody else's needs in front of our own. So do you look at autoimmune, Melissa, like when you look at this, is it a wake-up call to some degree?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I appreciate that question, because by the time we get to an autoimmune diagnosis, those don't usually come quickly. They usually are the body building. The body has given us multiple clues. Each symptom is a cry for help.
Yeah.
It's your body going, I have done everything I can here. I need help now. And a lot of times when symptoms come, you mentioned a headache, right? A symptom of a headache is the body going, help. I've done everything else, help. And we give it an Advil. And does it really fix what's going on? No. It quiets the symptom. And maybe it's something that we need to do at the time so we can, get through whatever we have to get through. But we can't just walk by that. So the body has accumulated multiple symptoms that have not just come and gone, but are coming and staying. Our immune system is literally out of balance. So when I look at an autoimmune condition, I'm really looking at what is causing the immune system to be out of balance. Sometimes it's hypo, sometimes it goes like this, crazy. And to really lean into just that simple question that you asked, Matt, how do I love me? Sometimes that can be the basis of figuring out what life habits, what choices we are doing that actually are contributing to the imbalance. Yes, there's a ton of, biological and all the things that are sideways in our bodies that we can really work on and really help. But at the end of the day, and this is one of the reasons why we work full body here. It's mind, body, spirit, right? All the pieces. Is that we have to uncover too, or at least in my opinion, we have to uncover what is fueling our choices. Where are we creating our choices from? Is it how can I care for me? Or
Right.
is it I'm at the bottom of the pile and I'm last? Does that make sense?
Well, isn't that the root? Is that, I mean, really, ultimately, what you're talking about is how did it all begin? Because
Yeah.
if we know where it somewhat begins, then we can start uncovering and unpeeling those layers. I loved how you brought in mind, body, and soul. So I am a firm believer that our soul ultimately wants to be healed. It wants to have
well.
that
Yep.
beautiful experiential life of what we are experiencing in body, mind, soul,
Yep.
in all of those pieces. Then we get the mind involved. So imagine the mind is right behind the soul. You don't see it. They're like working together in symbiotic relationship. And then all of a sudden life starts to happen. And then we're told as we're growing up that we're overweight, or we're told other negative things. We had parents and we had trauma. Notice how the mind's just no longer in alignment to the soul of where it wants to be. Now the body is down here in direct line now, and the soul wants to get your attention to bring the mind back into here where it wants to be. So then all of a sudden we start to create an imbalance within our bodies.
Yeah.
Our digestion isn't right. We've picked up a parasite, or we've had something to where our hormones are not in alignment, and the body is now, the soul's trying to get the mind's attention. Only way it can speak to us is through feeling, and with that, the body and how it feels. Like you said, we'll start to see a headache come in. Why did we originally get a headache? Are we seeing a lot of stress in our life? Did we eat something bad? Did we have an allergic reaction to something? So when we take the Advil, it masks the headache, but it never really gets to why the headache started. Are we drinking enough water? Are we drinking the right kind of water? And you're looking at all of these other pieces coming into it. So then healing an autoimmune condition is not really just what can we take.
Exactly.
It's about what are all the things? What is causing this misalignment? So now if the mind is all the way over here, now we have all these layers of all of our history that are between healing. The mind is pushing, trying to get back to an alignment to the soul because this is what it wants. But if we put all these layers in between it, this is when we're seeing, I remember the moments in my own life when I went through depression, seeing such a lack of worth. Like I know at some aspect, I did not feel as if I was enough. And you had talked about something on that essence of loving yourself. I think it's some of the harder work. The hardest work we will ever do is to be able to walk in front of a mirror and say the words, I love you, as we look in our own eyes. It's like we're the bottom of that totem pole, like you said, that actually goes to receiving love. We will love our own children. We will love our parents. We will love our siblings. We will love our friends. But when it comes time to loving ourselves, we're like, it's almost like, I don't have time.
Or we don't know how.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. So I love that question, because if you've been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, taking that breath is possibly one of the hardest steps you'll take. It's easy to take a pill. It's easy to go to the doctor and have the doctor say, oh, just take this. It's not very effective and it has some side effects. Oh, but just take this. That's easy. The condition of autoimmune is complicated, and taking another step deeper is finding this love within our heart to allow us to slow down, to actually heal and ask that beautiful question that you did. What if I could heal this?
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, like, as you walked this road for yourself, what did you find as you started to ask yourself that question? What if I could heal an autoimmune condition? What was the hardest step you took on that process?
I think it wasn't the initial decision to say yes and start doing some of the work. The hardest thing for me was staying at it long enough to see results.
Okay.
Because for me, I had no clue how this even worked, right? I had no background. I was brand new into this whole holistic way of thinking of anything. But one of the blessings was like my body was severely sensitive to gluten. And I had gluten 2 or 3 times a day. It was a staple in our diet, right?
Yeah.
And so I had never even thought about that. And so the practitioner that I was working with asked me to take it out for a month. And I was like, my word, what am I going to eat? Right.
Yeah.
And so it was the help of a friend that helped me find stuff, so I wasn't starving to death for that month. And the cool thing was the third day I began to notice a change in my symptoms. And that was enough to spark a little bit of excitement of, oh my, I wonder what could happen. And so for me, it was saying yes to the very first beginning process. What if, right? So sure, I'll try it. It's not going to hurt me.
Right.
But then being able to stick with it long enough to start to see results, and then letting that little seed of, oh my gosh, what if, grow. And then I tell you what, you get addicted pretty quick to feeling better.
Yep.
And I'm still very addicted to that. And so those were the bigger hurdles for me. Another one was kind of the fear of, what if this doesn't work? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because you kind of touched on it earlier, the medical profession doesn't give us a lot of options. It's basically, suppress or very nearly kill off the immune system so that you don't have symptoms, but it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help the body heal at all. It actually creates more issues. But, that was the only option that I had, or that I thought I had. Yeah. And so the fear piece was huge for me. Yes, afraid of what was happening in my body and what was transpiring, and that this downward spiral is just speeding up, and I don't know where it's going to end. But also, once that little spark of hope began to flame in my heart of what if, and then the fear came in on the backside, what if it doesn't work? So I get all the pieces. I get all the kind of the what ifs and the scary pieces of this. But if I could give you any hope, or any, like, do this first, second, third, and last, I would so recommend leaning in, getting quiet, and asking the question, do I think I can be well?
That's a tough question to ask, Melissa. I mean, you're basically saying to talk to the body, which possibly at this point right now, you individuals don't, we don't go through class, so to speak. I'm trying to slow it down a little bit. We don't go to class and we don't go to the how to talk to your body class.
Nope.
We don't come home after a rough day and we're not feeling very good.
Mm-hmm.
And our parents come to us and said, did you ask your body what it needs?
Right?
No, like, this is never done. Like,
No.
I mean, what you're saying is such a complete like 180 to most of our lives. I'll tell you this, and when I was on my healing journey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on to some degree. It wasn't till this last couple of years that I actually ask my body that question. What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I would hear something like that little knowing in the back of your mind, would be like, slow
The
down.
knowing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't even a voice. It was just a knowing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
slow down, or
Mm-hmm.
eat vegetables tonight, or
Mm-hmm.
stop drinking this, or something like that would lead me down. Take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all those things. So yeah, I mean, I love that you're pointing to actually talking to your body.
Because even when I was in that spiral and, all these things are coming around and I've got all these options and I don't like them and I'm afraid, really afraid, still there was just a little niggling in the back of my mind of, but I think maybe I could be well. And that's actually a question that I ask, like when I talk to clients coming in or potential clients, is, do you believe in your heart that you can be well?
Yes.
Because even if they can't answer that right now, or at the moment when I ask them that question, it opens the door in their mind to think about, oh my goodness, what do I think about this?
Yeah.
Can I truly be well?
Yeah. It's that little 1% shift where you're now thinking about something differently.
Yeah.
And that'll lead you to another step and then another step. I love how Dr. Martin Luther King had said, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the first step.
Yep.
And so by taking that little steps, it allows us to explore our thoughts, explore our belief, explore, having a conversation with you and saying, wait a second, you think it's this? Or even open to testing to get some blood work done, to test your stools, testing your your urine, like really going in and saying, where are these? What is your body at a physical level actually telling us? And this is something I don't find in our medical community today. We have all of this research, we have all of this capability to do this, but let's say, I know my neurologist made an immediate knee-jerk reaction. Oh, this is what this MRI said, so you now have this. They didn't say what's happening inside your body. What could be triggering this? What could be that root cause? They never talked to me about how are you feeling. But they're going to set this nocebo effect. Really setting out a date. Oh, you're going to be, I remember when my neurologist looked at me and said, you're about 6 months from a wheelchair if you don't do anything.
Don't you love that?
Holy shit. I mean, this is 5 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself going, how do you, are you a fortune teller or all of this kind of stuff? And I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And following your heart, your body has the answer. But how often, I mean, did you, in the process, do you believe that individuals that have been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, or even for yourself, did you trust your body?
No. Took me quite a few years of being well to actually trust my body.
Wow.
Because I was always waiting for the next shoe to drop, right? I'm like, this is so amazing, right?
Yeah.
But am I going to feel like this tomorrow? And then I would start, it went out to, am I going to feel like this next week? And am I going to feel like this next month? Am I going to feel like this next year? And when I got to the year, that's when I started going back to school and starting to feel like I could really build a life again.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I felt like I could trust my body that I started making actions of, okay, I'm going to live life to the fullest, because I didn't trust my body to that degree.
So for anybody listening right now, how do we take those first steps to trusting the body?
I like that question. I think for me, it is getting really real about what if I could. And when you get really real on that, ask the question, who do I need to help me walk down this path? Or do I feel like I can do this myself? Because I'll be really, really honest with you. If I wouldn't have had a practitioner walking beside me and also a dear friend, I wouldn't be here, because I didn't have the stick-to-itiveness or the belief in myself to be able to walk this road by myself. I would not be here. I would be probably talking to you guys from a hospital bed.
And and you said a really powerful word, the stick-to-itiveness. I don't even know if it's a word, but
who knows? I don't know.
Stick-to-itiveness is that, going at something alone. Remember, our mind is still there. Our mind is doubtful. Our mind is trying to keep us from danger. Our mind is trying to ward us of issues and challenges.
Protect us.
Really taking a look at that aspect and saying, okay, do I stay on the path? Do I keep doing this? I mean, you take a look at any athlete has a coach, because at some aspect, the athlete gets beat up enough because they're doing something, or they've tried this so many times that it doesn't work. So then does this stick-to-itiveness go away? Does the person just say, I'm not going to do it anymore? This is all hooey. This is crap. There's no way to get it. And then the mind starts justifying their state of being, which then leads them to their mindset, their behavior, their actions, and the results at the end of the day. Or does a good coach take a look at, or a good practitioner take a look at the individual as healed and say, no, I see you as healed. I know this is it. Let's stick to it. I know you can hit this shot. I know you can hit that ball. I know you can hit that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The coach sees it in the individual before the individual actually sees it, helping them with that stick-to-itiveness approach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. Yeah. So what would be your thought for everyone that's listening, Matt, around what is one of the very first steps that they can lean into to kind of begin that forward movement towards their recovery journey?
You know what? There's multiple ways I can answer this. But at some level, what I'm going to approach it as is the shift of 1%. 1% shift may be asking themselves that question that you asked yourself right at the beginning. What if?
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make any major adjustments, no big changes, but what if? Then if that what if question leads you to another step, which is, man, I listened to these people. They were on a Facebook Live. They were doing a live Q&A. Somebody asked this question. And it got me actually thinking about it. Is there something that could be going on inside my body? And let's say that leads you to a book, whether it's Medical Medium by Anthony William, or let's say it leads you to Dr. Brooke Goldner, or let's say it leads you to Sagebrush Wellness, or let's say it leads you to Identity of Health, or let's say it leads you down a road And then you start taking a look at some of the things. And I will say that at this point right now, if you are watching this video right now, you've already taken a step.
Mm-hmm.
You've
Honor
asked
that.
yourself that what if question,
Mm-hmm.
then taking another step. So it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that we have to do. It's what feels right for you right now. So thinking
Mm-hmm.
about it in this realm, you are exactly where you need to be right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So we put together an autoimmune masterclass. It's a free
Mhm.
masterclass. It's available on our website. And so if you want to dive into this a little bit deeper, if you still
Mhm.
got questions after our conversation today and you're like, okay, I just need to learn a little bit more, it's a perfect place to start. It's not a heavy masterclass. It's not like you have to take tons of notes, but it walks you through literally what is happening in the body when you have an autoimmune diagnosis or multiple autoimmune diagnoses, and really opening up to the idea of what if I can be well.
Mhm.
We've got the link here on our little ticker tape at the bottom of our video. If you just want to go to www.sagebrushwellness.com, and you'll see the little you can click on free masterclass. That's the autoimmune recovery masterclass. And I
Mhm.
invite you to just spend some time there and really thinking about what if I can be well? And what does that mean for you? And really leaning into what you want and what we talked about in the very beginning. How can I love myself? What
Mhm.
does that look like? And how can this translate into me being well?
Yeah. I think you hit it right on the head. And I just want to say to everyone else, we're going to be doing this weekly. So if you have
Mhm.
questions, definitely jump in,
Yep.
ask in the comment section. All you got to do is pop your question in there. You can also go to sagebrushwellness.com and you can ask just Melissa or anybody that's on there. You can even go into
Yep.
the question contact us page and ask a question.
Yep.
You can follow us on Instagram. You can ask a question anywhere. You can ask a question in this Facebook group right now. Ask the
Right.
question. We want to answer it for you. We're a team of individuals that want to watch you and celebrate with you as you rise above your autoimmune condition because we know it is possible.
Exactly. We know it's possible, not just because of
Mhm.
reading books and all of that. We get to live it every
Yeah.
day. And it's a whole nother level of knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for being with us. Thank you, Matt, for joining me.
Oh,
And
you're so welcome.
I hope this was just a time of opening up and of thinking of different things and really letting your mind come alive with
Mhm.
what if I can be well?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely beautiful.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you.